Starting with a big group question, because one of the greatest joys of covering this show is that you are all such wonderful people who very clearly love and support each other. Can you each tell me, no matter what season it's in, something you saw someone else do on set that made you stop dead in your tracks and go, I am so proud of them?
Well, I think we would probably all say just in this last season, just watching how our young cast has evolved,
that's what I was
and at the Sekai Taikai, and watching the short amount of time they had to put these elaborate fights and drama together, and we're as the senseis that brought them there, and to watch that, I think all of us were just amazed, and that was a real wow moment, I think.
Yeah.
And that comes to mind immediately.
I'll piggyback on in the same realm. In episode 603, I got to direct, and I got to direct Peyton and Mary in just a beautiful scene, and we had no time. It was the end of the day. I knew we were going to be up against it, and I told them the day before, I said, I think we're going to be crushed on this day. So anything, it was a long scene. I said, anything you guys have that you want to bring, you know how the Cobra Kai on the fly, we're going to have to, this is an emotional scene for them. And literally they each got it in one take. And in that moment, I just, I kind of welled up. I was so proud of these kids and these girls and in that moment. So that's one that comes to mind. But once again, the young cast just really inspires.
Yeah, I think the young cast also, for me, they brought it, and they were just so compelling to watch. Also, I want to say Ralph was incredible as a director to work with. Some of the shots that he brought were very featuresque, and I think because he's from that world, he brought that to this small screen, and it was just amazing to watch his process. And I learned a lot from just watching how he handled his actors and how he handled the set. And I think that set the tone for just a wonderful kind of work environment for all the actors that were involved with that particular episode.
Thank you, brother.
I love that. All right, specifics now. Ralph, I might have overthought this, and you might not think of it this way, but given what we're learning about Mr. Miyagi in part 1 of the show, I'm curious, have you ever differentiated who Daniel is in terms of being a product of Mr. Miyagi and his teachings, and what qualities of his are purely his own, like as he tries to find who he is without leaning on the things that have kind of, served as the pillar of his life since the first film?
That's a great question. I mean, it's, he's always referencing Miyagi and the greatness of Miyagi and all this through his students and even his friends. And there is, early on in the series, there were these really scenes I really embraced and enjoyed with Tanner, with Robbie, when I was taking Miyagi's teaching and doing the sort of LaRusso Jersey spin on them, whether it was the bonsai trees or training. And I really enjoyed finding Daniel's way of channeling the Miyagi-isms and the references. But there are times he dives so deep into that legacy that it's the struggle to differentiate, as you say, his own beliefs. And I think this season opens up that can of worms where he is second-guessing things about his mentor that he can never really find the truth about, and has to come to grips with that all personally. It's a big arc this season, and heading into part 2, and certainly resolving in part 3 is. I'm excited for the fans to see that.
I never thought that was going to be something the show would tap into, but what an interesting way to crack open your character in a fresh way.
Yeah, no, I'm always banging that every season. What can we do to unearth something with this guy that he's just not working at the dealership and being a pain in the ass to Johnny and loving his family. I mean, they're all good things, but let's go further. And they did.
I'm here for it. All right, Billy, one thing I've always loved about Johnny is his bravado and his confidence, even when they're going into dire situations. But it always makes me curious about the opposite. Going into the Sekai Taikai, what do you think he fears most for himself as a sensei and for his students going up against such top-tier talent?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think he first certainly doesn't fear what we see happen at the end of the first drop. That's left from left field. mostly what he's fighting for at this point is his family. He's fighting for a legacy and that he can provide for his new child and be a good dad. And he's trying his best to, he's aligning himself with Miyagi-Do, and he's, conceded there. So if he's afraid of anything, it's of not winning and afraid of failing his life. And this is just one chance again that he has to make something of himself. And he's working at LaRusso Auto, and things are going well, and he's partnered up with his guys, and this is he's ready to go. But we'll see what happens.
Makes all the sense in the world. I need part 2 ASAP.
Yes.
Yuji, with Chozen, I've always wondered, what do you think, if he were a sensei at his own dojo, what do you think his style of teaching would be like compared to Johnny and Daniel? How much would he lean into Miyagi-Do versus something else?
I think it's a mix of both. I think he's got that other side to him, that wild side that I think he has a little more of the kind of rough and tumble kind of attitude towards students. But at the same time, I think he's got that other side, which is the Daniel-san side and the Miyagi side, which is, a little more of the nurturing style of martial arts. So I think finding that balance, like Miyagi always says, is you need to find balance. And I think over the course of time, he's learned that through all the adversities and all the shortcomings he had growing up, and that led him to where we are today.
Let's put you on the spot creatively. If he had his own dojo, what would his logo be?
What would his logo be? Ooh.
Stitches on his back.
Oh, badass. I like it.
60 stitches across
This is not a sword with this. Yeah, no. I think maybe because I was like size, I would think it would be size.
Yeah.
Cool.
That crossed my mind. I'd believe it, but the stitches are kind of cool too. Ralph, I'm greedy with this franchise, so I have to ask about the new Karate Kid movie. I'm curious, are there any new layers of Daniel you unearthed working on that maybe we can either see in Cobra Kai season 6 or see the seeds that eventually lead to those qualities?
That's a good question. I mean, I can't go into too much detail at this early point. That movie's not hitting until May 30th, 2025. But it was important to me. I mean, mainly to me, it was about always being true to LaRusso's, the truth. I tried to play truth in 1983 when I originated this character, and I still always, throughout Cobra Kai and in the new film, it's about being honest and truthful to the character and what would motivate any of his actions. But what I was able to do is find things from season 6 that are that are sort of referenced in a way that makes sense if you've watched everything, but is not, just drawing specifically. So it helps motivate all the actions, and that hopefully will that thread will be seen by the fans in a good way.
I love it.
How's that for a tease?
No, I'll take that tease. That was good. That was thoughtful, and I feel like you didn't break any rules with it.
That's right.
Job well done. You know how to play the game now.
Wily old veteran.